Okay, here we are. And, it's really amazing to me. These videos that no one has seen, but someday may be of use to someone. Um, we are witnessing the complete collapse and decline of Western civilization today. And sorry if you hear a fan, but I have a new furnace coming tomorrow. My furnace is blown. And so the house is freezing, and I have this heater here. And a lot of people, like people in Canada, are seeing this now, right? We are aware. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But people in the United States, I see a lot of posts supporting trade wars, and thinking that the United States is all powerful and nothing can ever hurt them. Not realizing that we're watching over the course of weeks the unfolding of the complete decline of Western civilization. And it's fascinating to me because I've said for not throughout my entire life, but I guess for 25 or 30 years now, that things can fall apart in days if you do not take care of it. If you have democracy and you decide not to take care of it, it's not certain that it'll fall apart, but it could fall apart in days or weeks. And this is what we're seeing happening in the United States today, where Elon Musk, a complete moron, is gaining access with his team to all kinds of databases throughout the United States, even though he has no legal reason to be doing this, other than the fact that he's friends with Donald Trump. And the last I saw that was either the FBI or CIA was talking about people were in trouble over January 6th. So that's just a wee small bit of what's going on in the United States right now. And I will talk about the characters of Elon Musk and Donald Trump in a little bit. But we need to see the greater scale of what's going on here first. So, Mexico and Canada have been hit with tariffs. They're coming in by Tuesday, apparently. I think this is, it's not quite Monday morning yet. And there's a whole bunch of reasons about these tariffs, but the real reason, and Donald Trump mentioned this in the past, was that he wants to generally take over Canada. He wants to take over Greenland. He wants to take over the Panama Canal. And he has said that he is going to use an economic war against Canada to achieve the goal of taking Canada. Okay? Mexico, he just seems to want to punish because he has made no comment about that. I mean, they had their war, the Mexican-American War, and California was generally annexed. And they've had a war against Mexico since then with what they did with the Colorado River and cutting off water into Mexico, which is what Trump claims Canada is doing to the United States, which is a lie. But he is a pathological liar. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but that's why you hear things like that, because he is a pathological liar. So this trade war is going on now. It has been started from the United States. Whatever the purpose is with Mexico, I don't know. The purpose with Canada is to attack our sovereignty. I want to send a message to Americans. I would rather fucking die than report to your shithead president. So if you think this is going to be easy, you're a fucking idiot. Look at Ukraine. They've been bombed for years. They do not surrender. We're not even being bombed. Look at Syria, what Russia has tried to achieve there, and they failed, and they are running away. You just started an economic war. It is a war, and he called it a war. And it's not about winning or losing for the United States. In a sense, it's a loss for everyone. No one wins in an economic war. So the United States is weakening itself and its allies. Now he has said he will do the same to the EU. The United States is attacking all of its allies. The United States has few friends left in the world, and I guess they think, well, we have nuclear weapons, so they'll just do what we say. Are they going to bomb Europe and Canada into oblivion in order to achieve their goals? What use is our water to you, Trump, if it's filled with uranium? But the bigger picture here is that the United States, one of the largest populations on the face of the planet, the populace there doesn't realize or understand the importance of their country. First of all, with the fact that they're so huge as far as population goes. But secondly, the United States has driven through their foreign policy so much of what has happened in the Western world. And now they have said, we're leaving. We don't believe it anymore. We are now going to be a dictatorship with a fascist corporate attitude. And we are leaving, right? Now, on this channel, I've spent a lot of time talking about how the West is declining and the amount of debt in the Euro region and in Canada in particular. How we failed completely to embrace, what would you call it? We embraced real estate rather than anything else, and oil rather than anything else. It was the easy way to survive, And so now we have, on top of all of the problems of the debt and lack of competitiveness of the West, we have the United States, first of all, turning into a dictatorship, from what I can see. Second of all, throwing in the towel as far as the Western world goes and saying we don't want to be part of it. As a matter of fact, you are not our allies, you are our enemies, and we are going to attack you. Isn't it incredible? It's only been a little while that I've been doing this channel, but is that not incredible to hear? Even I, the cynic, could not have guessed that this is where we would be today. I watch the headlines in the United States. No one is standing up to Musk or Trump. There should be some type of law enforcement, you would think, that would come in and arrest Musk and the people that are accessing databases that they have no legal right to get a hold of, but no one's doing it. So this is a sad day for democracy in the United States. I don't care what side you're on. If someone can go and access that data and they have no legal right to access that data, that's the end of democracy. Now, I know the Proud Boys and all that want the end of democracy, and they are achieving it now. So it is a sad day for the United States. But the other thing is that, as I've been saying, Europe is in crisis. Canada is in crisis. The UK is in crisis. So they've separated from the European Union, so I kind of put them out there separately. And I've been saying the United States is coming close to crisis because they have $1 trillion more of debt every quarter. And the American people are being taken for a ride because the Trump and Musk are saying, we are going to solve this. They're not going to solve that. By starting a tariff war, an economic war, it's going to drive down revenues. And so it's going to be harder and harder and harder to pay debts. I don't care how many people in government you get rid of. We know that Elon Musk just simply hates employees. We know this because he fired so many people at Twitter and then had to ask them to come back because he had things he needed to be done. He's that stupid. He's a moron, right? Let's talk about what actually happens when you use tariffs. So I'll put a link to a speech from actually Ronald Reagan, who I'm not a huge fan of because I was not a fan of trickle-down economics. But he talks about Canada and Brian Mulroney, and he talks about protectionism and why we should be worried about it, right? But what do tariffs do? And I've seen a lot of. I was complaining about Canadians being stupid, okay, because of some of the posts that I saw about Canadians going to Costco to find Canadian goods, right? And it's fine, Canada, because then I saw Americans that do not understand how tariffs work, right? Full-ass grown adults that don't understand how tariffs work. So how a tariff works, when Donald Trump puts up tariffs, that means when something comes into the country, the company that is importing that, let's say it's Canadian lumber, has to now pay a levy, and that goes to the government, and then that is passed on to the consumer. So your prices go up, right? Costs go up with tariffs. A lot of people make the mistake of saying, well, that's going to cause inflation. Not necessarily true, because in order for inflation to take place, the monetary base has to expand, which means the Fed has to be involved. Now, we know the Fed is separate from Donald Trump. Now, he may be walking them out any day and taking that over. Who knows? But there's two possibilities when you have tariffs like this. If the Fed plays along, you have inflation, right? If you have inflation, then you're going to get higher interest rates to keep that in line. But the other thing that is more likely to happen is that it will cause a recession because people will not have money for the goods as they are becoming more expensive, right? So you get a recession, or in the real protectionist era of the past, you get a depression, which I know that people are so confident in the United States, they don't think it could happen. But there's a very real possibility right now that the United States and all of the Western world is going to head into a depression, because we've been on the precipice of heading into a depression for 5 to 10 years now. We barely survived the pandemic, and now we have this bullshit going on, and it could surely push us over the precipice. So, well, so that's a little bit of economics. Think about it. As things become more expensive, there's two ways that it can go: inflation or recession. Those are the only two possibilities. And this has been introduced into the United States now, right? And it's going to be introduced throughout the Western world as this war continues, and it is a war. Now, I said before that I wanted to talk about, and you can watch any of my past videos about how the West has totally screwed up economics, immigration, like you name it, we've screwed up, right? So you can go through that. But I wanted to talk about, I'm a bit depressed tonight watching the news. I've drank too much beer. I wanted to talk about the personalities of Musk and Trump. They're both obvious narcissists, right? Now, the thing about narcissists is that most of us just fucking hate them. They are a drain. They are morons. They're stupid. They attack everyone. They always get their way. They always come out on top because they have more energy than anyone else, right? But why? Well, it's because they're broken individuals that did not have a proper childhood. You cannot win against a narcissist. If you read any book about relationships, you cannot win. They are hyper focused on constantly winning, right? But the thing about Musk and Trump that you have to understand as narcissists who were obviously broken during their childhood, they have a lot of trouble when someone says no. And so Musk got some no's during COVID and stuff like that, and it changed him. People say, right? I don't think it changed him. It just, you saw that he's a fucking asshole. Trump was told no in the election that he lost. And he is now on the fucking rampage because he is a baby, a child. So a lot of people keep going on about, well, these are Nazis or they are fascists. Definitely there is a fascist corporatism taking over the United States. When you see all the people from Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Google, and all of that getting behind Trump, this is obviously a fascist corporatist thing that is happening. It's going to destroy them across the Western world. And I'm going to get into what we have to do to destroy them after this. But yeah, all of this stuff, that whether it's fascism or Nazism, some people would say, really comes from the fact that we're dealing with broken people that are narcissists. That's the reality of it. So yeah, as I was saying, what can the Western world do about this? And I've been been leading towards this, and I did not realize heading up to the inauguration how big of a deal the tech bros are in this entire thing. So color me surprised, because I was going on about how the CEOs in high tech in the United States need to be replaced because they're losers and they're fucking up. And the fact that Microsoft was pouring money into OpenAI shows just how ridiculously stupid they are. If we can take a little break here, Microsoft is laying off people due to poor performance. Meta is laying off people due to poor performance. Let's be honest here. Who needs to be laid off? Let's talk about Microsoft. Well, whoever gave billions of dollars to OpenAI needs to go now. But he's not going anywhere. The employees are going because of his fuck up. He's not going anywhere. Let's talk about Meta. How about the metaverse? Billions of dollars wasted. Lives destroyed. People hired and then fired. Whose fault is that? That's Mark Zuckerberg. Mr. We need more masculinity at Facebook. No, we need less of you. Someone contacted Mark Zuckerberg and threatened him. I can guarantee it. Why is he coming out saying we need more masculinity? Mark, you're a coward. You're an absolute coward. I'm absolutely disgusted in the things that you've said since whenever that phone call came in. Now, we know that he's paying Donald Trump $25 million for shutting down his account. So I think we know where that phone call came from. Okay, we have to move on to what does the Western world do about this? The Western world is in decline. We know this. We cannot compete against China. This is the thing that's going on in the United States. Tesla is fucked. OpenAI is fucked. China is leading the charge. I don't care what their economy is doing. They're leading the charge, right? What can the Western world do? Because Germany's being destroyed by Chinese vehicles, apparently. And China is leading the revolution into green energy, whereas the United States is now falling further and further and further behind, and they're going to be meaningless. And in 5 years, it's not even going to matter what the United States does because they're going to be losers at that point in time. The world leaders are becoming losers. But what can the Western world do? Number one, the entire Western world and all governments and banks need to get rid of Microsoft now. It is absolutely imperative. It's been important for a long period of time. It is imperative now. And anyone who laughs at this is an idiot, because almost everything of a serious nature is being run in containers on Linux now. There is no reason for any government software to be running Microsoft. Number two, they have to embrace open source software in order to get rid of hegemony, dictatorships, monopolies, etc. It is so funny to me that I've spent my entire adult life saying that open source is the future, and now we're coming down to this crunch time where fascists are actually taking over, and I'm saying the response to this is open source. Do not allow closed source into your country. Make it over for them. The third thing we need to do is destroy companies like Meta. And this can easily be done with cooperation through the rest of the countries in the Western world to have the people that understand the technology to build alternative systems where you pay for it and you are a customer rather than having that company owning your data and selling it off. Those are the main solutions. Trade wars. Everyone's a loser in a trade war. We're going to have a trade war. You know, I will never buy anything from the United States again. They are now our enemy. Donald Trump has declared them as an enemy. Now, I don't buy a lot from them. Like all my, like, if I look at my stereotype stuff, it's all from Japan and the UK and stuff like that. If I look at even the soap I use, it comes from France. Now, one thing I did have was microphones like this one here, and my Gibson and my Fenders and my Fender amps. That's all done now. So Gibson and Fender, I'll never buy another fucking product from you. You can fuck off. Don't blame me. Blame your shithead of a president. Okay? But yes, we have to do that. That's one of the things we can do. But the bigger thing is to get out of the monopoly of all of these high-tech companies in the United States and make them suffer. And also, it's time to cancel all of your recurring costs for Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, you name it. I've canceled all of mine. YouTube I still have to cancel, and here I am on YouTube. But I'm going to also find an alternative to YouTube. So we all have to leave these things because they've led us into the abyss. Right? We are now being attacked by the very companies that are running these things. Even if Mark Zuckerberg is just a fool and a loser, we're on his platform and we're going to have to eventually leave it, right? So that's what we can do. But anyway, yeah, sad story. I was not, when I started this, well, I was saying at the beginning of this, or thinking anyway, I don't know if I really said anything about it, that the Western world is on decline so quickly that it may come to an end, right? Well, here we are. We're facing the end now. We're absolutely facing the end. It does not look good for anyone. You know, I'm angry with the United States, but at the same time, I have empathy and sympathy for the people that are stuck there in what is quickly turning into a dictatorship, which with all the problems the United States has had, is one thing that I did not think I would see. I can't believe that I can't believe that there's nobody standing up to Musk. So the United States and Trump is trying to say, look how strong we are. You look weak. Why is Musk allowed to do whatever he's doing? That doesn't show strength. That shows the weakness of a nation. If that kind of shit was going on here in Canada, there'd be major, major problems. And we had a guy, Stephen Harper, who was very much like Trump, and he tried a bunch of shit, and he went to the Supreme Court, and he lost. And he deserved to lose. Well, Trump's not going anywhere near the courts. He's just doing whatever the fuck he wants. And it is showing weakness in the United States, not strength. So good luck to everyone down there, and good luck, obviously, to everyone in Canada. It was always a difficult situation being an ally and friend of the United States, which we have been 100% of the time, but those days are done now. It's over. And the same is going to happen with the EU. Who knows where it goes from here, but the West is done. I'm calling it. It's like election night. It's over. The West is over. How will it rebuild itself? I don't know. That is going to be very interesting to see. I hope I survive to see it. I hope you survive to see it. Thanks for watching and have a good night.